My name is Venkad. I lead the product for AI and analytics at Salesforce for our internal developers. And today, I'm here to walk you through the journey that we had for the last 3 years. It's a combination of analytics and AI and how we have transformed developer productivity in the last 3 years. Now, before I start our AI journey, I want to show you something that our AI tools haven't mastered it yet. You wonder what? It's not able to predict 100%, right, the future. So that's why I have this slide for you. This is just, housekeeping. Now, as part of Salesforce culture, we have gratitude that we start with any of our presentations. So I want to start with a big thank you. And especially for this community, please raise your hand if you are part of developer productivity or developer experience organization. Okay, that's a house book. You know how it is, right? The last 2 to 3 years, it's like a roller coaster ride. There is a lot of new tools, there is a lot of learning, there are a lot of new things that you constantly hear from your developers. Hey, that tool is good, Windsurf is good, Claude is good, Cursor is good. Why don't we get this? And then you have to constantly figure out and trying to empower them with all these tools and also build your own tools and make them productive. So it takes a lot of effort, time, and continuous learning to make this happen, and especially at scale. So thank you for doing that. And I also want to thank our entire Salesforce team. There are a lot of Salesforce people here, and it takes a village to really make this work, especially if you are operating at a scale of 10,000 plus engineers. So I want to thank the Salesforce team for doing all this great work to make the developer's life easier and better. So in this AI journey, what I'm going to cover is first show you the landscape. What is the landscape that we are operating at Salesforce? What is the scale? And then there are 3 phases that I want to cover, and I ordered it by the years, like where we started in 2023, and then we will look at how we scaled in 2024, and then in 2025, where we are today, which is building an ecosystem, not just one tool, but a whole ecosystem. And then we will look at the impact, right? The gain that we accumulated over the last 3 years. And finally, we'll end the destination with the key takeaways and Q&A. Okay, so I just want to lay the land. Salesforce is a big organization, and overall there are 80,000 employees, and the engineering organization is 14,000 plus engineers. And if you look at it, there are different stacks that we operate on, and primarily we have our own monolith. We call it core, it's Java based, and then we have like a lot of microservices as well, and we have other acquisitions that we acquired over the years. So there are different stacks with a lot of engineers operating in all those different stacks. And if you look at the teams, right, the teams, which is the operating unit for building all the latest and greatest features, there are 2,000 plus Scrum teams, and we have engineers that are spread over like 10 plus countries. So there is a lot of scale and complexity that is involved when we are operating at this level. Now, what is our strategy when we are trying to deal at this scale? So we are holistically looking at the entire product and software development lifecycle that all the way starts from planning to deploy and operate. And then you take the feedback loop, then you go again, right? That is your flywheel. And within this, there are 3 different loops that we have, which is inner loop. So that is where most of the engineers operate, where they are building all the features and trying to make it great. So the inner loop, which includes the planning, coding, building, and testing on what are the different things that we are doing to make it better, we will cover it. And then the outer loop, which is focused on, okay, all those different changes that developers are creating, how do we integrate and how do we test, deploy, and how do we make that better. And then the scale loop. So we have our services that are deployed across the globe in different regions. So how do we scale it? How do we release it in a way that we can introduce changes pretty much like every day there is some change going into the production, and if there are incidents, how do we handle it? So that all happens in the scale loop. So this is our approach into looking at how we can strategically scale in terms of what we are doing for developer productivity and experience. Now, let's look at the phase one, which is laying the foundation. In 2023, when I look back from now, we, we laid a very strong foundation. One, you all know, like with AI, we started our investment after Chat GPT, which was released in November 2022. It took off. We all know the power of generative AI. So we started experimenting. There are two key areas where we started our experimentation. So one is we created our own plugin using Salesforce generated model that was provided to the developers earlier on, and that helped us to learn a lot of great things about generative AI and how it can help in the development process, especially the coding aspect. So we learned a lot. And then in addition, we also had a technology or a stack for knowledge. So we have our own Salesforce tool that we built to help with all the different knowledges. For example, we have Confluence, we have Word documents, we have different set of documents for our internal knowledge base. So we aggregated all of those documents, we ingested into a one common place, we indexed it, and then we created a place for developers to go search and find the answers they need. So those are two tools that we invested and did a lot of experimentation and learned a ton from that experimentation. And next is metrics. For metrics, we started our effort on developer productivity. So we looked at the industry standards at the time. There were two frameworks that stood out. One is DORA, and the other one is SPACE. And we eventually ended up choosing SPACE because we wanted a way not just looking at one dimension, but multiple dimensions, right? The space across the broader category. So we collected all this developer productivity metrics, but we didn't stop there. We went from not just developer productivity, but across all the different functions in the engineering, whether it is security, availability, productivity, as well as looking at how we are doing across all of engineering. So we paid the foundation, collecting all the data. That really helped us to measure how we are doing with all the investments we are making in all the different tools. And then the developer experience. There are many stacks that we have, but there are two main stacks that we focus on. One is on the core side. The other one, we call it as Falcon, but is focused on microservice. So we wanted to provide a paved path experience. So we tried to unify the development experience with a lot of tooling around it to make the developers productive. So these are the three key pillars where we invested in 2023 that really laid the foundation for where we are today. Now, the phase two, which is how did we scale from 2023 investments that we made. Now, we went beyond, if we take AI, for AI, we went beyond from just the coding tool and then the knowledge, and we expanded into other areas. You all know what happens when you give developers a tool to generate a lot of code. The next thing is, now you need to review all this codes, right? So how do you scale this process? Because it will create a bottleneck. You have to solve the end-to-end pipeline in terms of not just producing code, how do you review, how do you merge, and how do you actually deploy. So we started investing in developing tools that are specific to code reviews. And we also started to invest in toolings specifically for how we deploy, manage releases, and then how do we do safe changes. So all those investments went in 2024 that really strengthened our investment in tooling that we made. And it's not just providing the tools for developers, but we wanted to scale it and do it in a safe and reliable manner. And then metrics. So we gathered all the metrics. We built the data integration like pipelines, gathered data from different sources, and we created dashboards to make it available for every engineer, team, as well as leaders to look at how we are doing as an organization across all the different functions. Now, you need to operationalize it, right? It's not just building the dashboards and then providing the data, but how do you make it as part of every day, or whether it's a scrum planning meeting or release planning meeting, or is it like quarterly reviews? So we made it as part of our planning, like the culture, in terms of looking at the data and see how we operate, what are the areas we can get better. So that really helped us to strengthen the measurement of how we are doing with all these investments that we are making in different tools and AI initiatives. And for developer experience, we are not just building individual tools, but how do we integrate all these different tools and streamline the workflow so that it doesn't feel like there are only pockets of areas where they are getting better, but the overall end-to-end experience, is it also getting better? So that is what we did in 2024. In the phase 3, which is 2025, here is what you can see as a result of all the investments we made in 2023, 2024, and up until now in 2025. So here is how we are tracking in terms of how we are maturing in each stage of this product and software development lifecycle. So this is our way for us to know how we are making progress and how we are helping our developers as well as the organization to really get mature in the developer productivity and experience. And you can see there are different jobs to be done. So these are all the areas where we made the investment, where we have all the different tools that are available today for the developers as well as other personas who can really leverage it. And when all this comes together, that really impacts the overall developer experience as well as the value that we bring to our end customers. So this is the view that you have, or you can see today that we have. Now, I want to also show some examples. What does this mean, right? What are the tools that we use? What are the things that you can see in terms of the impact? So we have our own product that's called Agentforce, where it's a platform that you can build agents for various use cases, whether it is knowledge, support, or if you have an action that connects to a different system, you can leverage that. And we are customer zero, and we leverage a lot of our Agentforce product to build a lot of agents within Salesforce. And we have over 100 plus agents just within the engineering organization created from the Agentforce. And it's not just the Agentforce product. We also have our own internal agent platform for developers that's based on LangChain and LangGraph. And we are also building all these task-based agents that are very specific to individual tasks, whether it is writing tests, or code coverage, or fixing 3PP bugs, or integration tests. So we have all these different agents that are focused on specific tasks. And then we also not just build our own tool, but we also buy. Here are the different tools that we use: Cursor, Windsurf, and Claude, based on the tech stack you are, different languages that you use, or different types of use cases, whether it is a long-running complex jobs versus like a simple functions. So we give all these options and flexibility for developers, and also enable them when to use what, providing them with success stories on how to best use these tools. And you can look at how the progress we have made in the last 3 years, with the impact. So the numbers that you see here are, when we started our journey in 2023, all the way to until right now. These are the business outcome metric that we track. And this is at the macro level. This is across like the entire organization for 14,000 plus engineers. What matters at the end of the day is, right, like when you invest all these tools, make investment in all these tools, you want to make sure we are able to provide more value to our end customers. Are we adding new features. It's not just adding new features, but are you doing in a way that is, with a high quality, also with less incidents? So we also look at that, but as an outcome, we want to look at, are we providing more value to our customers, and how quickly are we able to do it? So we look at these metrics through the cycle time as well as the developer throughput. And then for all the AI related, we also look at the percentage of code generated by AI. And these are the three important metrics that we track as an organization. So now looking back, what are the key takeaways and learning, right? One, it is a journey. So it is a continuous journey where we are learning and adapting as things are changing, and things are changing quite fast. So we have to acknowledge, and we have to be in a mindset where there are things that will change or disrupt. So we need to evaluate what's going on, what are the trends, and adapt as part of our developer experience and the developer workflow. There are three key pillars that I want to highlight if you're thinking in terms of, hey, how can I take this and adapt it, like the framework, right? So one, people. Change is hard. So first we need to understand and acknowledge that for anyone introducing a new change and asking them to adapt is hard. So we need to make sure we bring people along. So how do you do that? So you have enablement sessions, and you also show them the value. Why? Explain the why they need to adopt this tool. What is the value it is bringing, right? And you show that by actually doing hands-on workshops, or you show them some of the champions or people from the same team or the same organization, how they are using it. There someone is writing a test in a specific way. If they have specific rules that they already created, how can you make it available, and how can they leverage? So it creates a way to kind of seed and grow approach. So that's what we did. So we did a lot of enablement sessions, and we are running like AI camps to really help bring people along with this change, making sure no one is left behind. So that is our goal. And and then we are also focusing on the process. So what is the process involved to scale this, right? So we created community specifically for AI or different tools. So that really helps people to share what are the problems that they are facing, what are the learnings, what are the things they love about the tool or hate, or like get the feedback, and continuously look at that process and see what we can improve. So that is the process we have in place. And then the technology. So all the investments that we are making in all these tools, right? So it's not just we are creating tools in silos, but we are looking at it as a whole ecosystem. How can it start all the way from planning to deploy, and how can we connect them? How can we streamline that process so that when you see a productivity increase in one area, it won't create a bottleneck in other area, right? So we have to look at it holistically and make sure we are providing tools and really enable them to leverage the entire end-to-end experience. And we do that through by different means. For example, we have created agent exchange. We created a place where people can go discover what already exists, and then if they have a new idea, they can register. So that way we are creating a place, a marketplace for people to see what is already there, what already out there, and also help build new agents, or in this case for agent exchange. And then we have MCP exchange, similar idea. It's a marketplace where we are bringing in all the standardized MCPs across the organization. So this is our way to really crowdsource all the ideas and really bring value to everyone. And then with the AI, there are a lot of rules and things. So how do we create a way to package all the stuff? For example, you are developing in one particular stack, then you need to know, okay, here are the different MCPs or different rules that I need to have. So you can select it. It's kind of like, shopping cart. You can add it, and then you can save it as a profile. Then you go to a specific tool, you can import it. So that way it already has the context and really helps you kind of, get started quickly to do what you want. So we have made all this investment on creating that, technology and building that ecosystem. So that's how we went from one single tool where we started in 2023, focused on just a plugin for coding. And now we have the whole ecosystem that is not just a plugin, but also different marketplaces and looking across the entire SDLC, measuring the maturity, and eventually measuring the actual impact for the organization. I quickly want to highlight, what are the different tools that we use, and then what it looks like in our organization, so you can relate to it. What is the outcome that we have achieved? So this is our agent exchange, where you can see all the agents that are registered and you can discover them. This is our MCP exchange, AI rules, AI profiles, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. But before we go to Q&A, we have a lot of people from Salesforce who worked on this project. So I first want to say thank you, and we are happy to answer any of your questions.